What's happening, YTPC? It's George 416 Piper outside on my deck, enjoying the lovely weather with some GLP's Westminster in my Rattray's Old Gallery 6 Bulldog. Beautiful pipe. Love it. Drinking some Tim Hortons dark roast coffee. Cheers. I want to talk to you a little bit about Westminster, which I had mentioned before. It does remind me of Seattle Pipe Club plum pudding. But I find the flavor carries through all the way to the bottom of the bowl for the most part. I find it to be not as sweet, but also I find it halfway through the bowl, it kind of hits me in the back of the throat. But overall, I think it's a very good smoke. I could easily go back and forth between this and plum pudding. Is it better than Mississippi River? It's different. I find this one to be smoother than plum pudding, at least in the first half of the bowl. Because then, like I said, both of them, they tend to hit me in the back of the throat a little bit. Halfway through the bowl, I start to get all that spiciness through the retrohale and stuff like that. But very good smokes. If you haven't tried GLP's Westminster, I definitely would give it a go. Very good. Sweet, smoky, all that stuff. Someone's trying to call me, of course, while I'm doing a video, so I have to politely decline. So last week on Saturday, this past Saturday, I decided I was going to do an oil change on my Forester Subaru. I had done lots of them in the past before, so it was no big deal. So I had all the oil ready, I had everything set up. I jacked up the car to one side. I drained the oil, removed the filter, of course, and the what's it called, the drain, not the plug, but on top I removed where you would be pouring in the engine oil, the cap. Everything went well, drained it right out, put the plug back in at the bottom, wheeled myself out from underneath of the car, put the car back down, leveled it, and then I go ahead and start pouring in the motor oil into the engine. So I put the new filter on, all that stuff. Put the dipstick in, start the car. I let it run for a few seconds just to make sure the filter fills up. Come back out, turn it off, come back outside, and I go check the dipstick. Now the dipstick is reading that it's twice as full, and I'm thinking, there's no way that can happen. I have a full bucket of old dirty oil So something must be wrong. So I thought maybe perhaps I didn't, I overestimated how much oil to put in, even though I calculated and recalculated. I know I got the right amount, but I figured I'll jack it up, I'll drain some of the oil out, and then we'll check again. So I drained some oil out, and I'm finding that very little oil is coming out at this point, which doesn't make sense because the dipstick is saying that it's twice as full. But whatever, I put the plug back on, wheel myself out, put the car back down, go check the dipstick, same thing. Twice as full, and barely any oil came out, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And the oil that was coming out was still black, which didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So I jacked the car up, and I decided I'm going to try to remove some oil. I called my brother-in-law, see if he had any suggestions. He just said keep trying that, because he couldn't figure out why nothing was really coming out, and what was coming out was black, and the dipstick was still reading full. So I must have jacked up the car 4 or 5 times easily and dropped it. So each time trying to drain more out and seeing what the problem was, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. Dipstick kept reading full. So at this point I called the dealership because I knew I had a problem. I just couldn't figure out what the problem was. So I knew I was gonna have to get the car towed to the dealership because I didn't want to risk doing any further damage. So after I called the dealership to let them know that I would be coming, I decided I was going to try one last time. So I jack it up, go underneath, pull the plug out, put the bucket underneath, drain it, and this time it's bone dry. My brother-in-law had suggested me putting my finger inside. Maybe he thought there was some sludge blocking the oil from coming out. Of course, it was clean as could be. My finger was moving all around, there was nothing there. So now no oil was coming out whatsoever. So I put the plug back in. I was super frustrated. And then on the way out, I noticed another plug. That's right. All you guys and girls who know more about cars than I do, you quickly realized that I had drained the transmission fluid and I had kept the engine oil exactly where it was at the beginning. So now I realized I have 0 transmission fluid and I've got twice the amount of oil in my engine. I guess the good news is I could tell the dealership exactly where I went wrong. The bad news is it cost me $425 to get everything back to the way it's supposed to be. And so after all that jacking up and jacking down and in and out trying to like drain fluids and the mess that you always leave behind, because no matter how clean you try to be, somehow I always still manage to spill some on my driveway, I decided then and there that that was going to be my last oil change at home. Not worth it. Better off taking it to the dealership or Jiffy Lube or some kind of oil replacement center, because I'm not going to deal with that mess again, and I'm not going to risk doing any further damage to my car. Anyhow, GLP's Westminster. I like it a lot. I like it, I would say, equally to plum pudding. It's one of those blends, like I said, that if you don't have plum pudding available and Westminster's available, pick up the Westminster. I can go back and forth. Would I buy it again? Yeah, I think I'll buy it again. But does it really stand out compared to the plum pudding? I'd say they're too close to make that determination. At least after my fourth bowl, it's still too early. See, I'm already starting to feel it in the back of my throat, but it still tastes sweet. I don't find, I don't know, maybe my nicotine tolerance is higher than I anticipated, but I'm not getting much of a nick hit off of this. It burns pretty well. You can see the ash. I did find on a couple of my bowls it was a bit bitey, but not where it's like you can't keep slugging through. I don't know. It's very good. I highly recommend it. We're going to be nearing 12 minutes here, so I'm going to cut this off right here. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody has a great weekend or week. I'm not sure when I'm going to be posting this yet. I thank you everybody for watching, and remember, when you smoke a pipe, you smile at life. Cheers and take care.